Thank you for joining us today for a one-of-a-kind webinar brought to you by 888 VoIP, your one-stop shop value-added VoIP distributor. My name is Rebecca Johnson. I have organized today's webinar and I'm going to be monitoring the session. So I will begin here with an introduction and an overview, and we're going to get going very shortly. The host of today's webinar is 888 VoIP's very own with sales, Joe LaBella, Director of Advanced Solutions Practice. Joe is going to go through a little bit about 888 VoIP and then review all areas of the Yealink product ecosystem. So he's going to give you a brief overview of SIP phones, headsets, and video conferencing, essentially so you can build an entire solution with Yealink. There are some new products as well that we cannot wait to show you. So during the presentation, please feel free to ask questions either in the Q&A box or the chat box, and I will jump in and throw them to Joe during the session if we can, and then go through any remaining at the end. More questions, the better. We appreciate, all the conversation, and thank you all for joining us today. We are happy to also send out the presentation to you once we have it uploaded to our YouTube channel, and that usually happens within the next few days, so keep an eye out on your email. We will send you a copy. And so at this point, I will pass it off to Joe.
Awesome. Thanks so much for the introduction, and thank you everyone for attending today. As Rebecca mentioned, we'll dive into some of the Yealink ecosystem equipment pretty soon. We just want to quickly go over who we are as a distributor, who 888 VoIP is for those that may or may not be working with us today, and just more background on some details that you may or may not know from working with your reps. I've been with 888 VoIP going on year 13, so great to see, the folks that have been attending. Definitely happy, to see some familiar names, but also looking forward to maybe, working with you all a little bit more, seeing what we could do to answer questions, and again, just be available to go over anything from the line card and the portfolio that we have. So just brief overview of who we are. A one-stop value-add distributor. We offer a wide variety of technology. Although our company name indicates a lot more voice over IP, distributing, products, we do carry other technologies such as networking devices, video conferencing equipment, switches, LTE failover devices, IP paging, IP cameras, anything that can maybe form a full solution around some of the products that we focus on day in and day out. If you're ever in a spot where you're running through a new project and you have some questions on certain things, feel free to lean on us. We'd be happy to engage our technicians, our technical contacts on the manufacturing side, and even offer some suggestions to try to make those solutions move a little bit smoother for all of your client deployments. We provide a wide variety of other services that you may not really see too much if you're not using them today, or you may not realize that we offer as an included partner program that we have here. We do offer provisioning, customization that can be done prior to the devices leaving our warehouse, mainly focused around the voice devices, although we can pre-configure and help with networking equipment on top of video conferencing solutions as well. But really, there's no limit to what we can offer as far as anything to help take some time away from your team's needs. We can drop ship directly to your client pre-configured, so that way your team just has to confirm when the units are plugged in. Everything pulls down the proper customization and configuration details, and then your clients contact you with any questions after that installation is done. We do offer PBX solutions, a wide variety of phone system integrations. If you're ever looking for alternatives to what you're using today, or finding out what can be compatible with the hardware that we carry, feel free to give us a call there. We've got networking engineers and voice over IP, voice engineers on site that can help just kind of clarify any questions when it comes to compatibility. We do offer a full cycle logistics service. As long as the devices are in stock and we get the order prior to any shipping cutoff times, our goal is to make sure that those devices leave the same day that the order is placed. On top of the full cycle shipping, we also offer in-house customer service and RMA services. Our manufacturers lean on us to support the channel as well as working directly with the channel. So if there's ever anything that your team buys through us and your company has issues, or your client has issues and we're in the warranty timeframe, please feel free to contact us directly. We'd be happy to see what we can do to get those devices replaced, or even work on troubleshooting directly and seeing if we could fix the problem that's on site. We offer a couple of different warehousing options, such as private stock. If you ever have a large project that you know is going to happen a few months down the line, but there's some rumors that maybe pricing is going to increase, or if you want to make sure that you've secured the inventory so that way the products do not sell through prior to your project taking place, we can work with you on those private stock options, maybe cornering off a section in our warehouses, leaving your equipment there until it's ready to be delivered. That also helps with any kind of warehousing and configuration services as well. If you wanted to establish almost like a schedule where your team knows that every month you're going to have a set number of devices with a static URL on each device. You want us to pre-configure those and hold them in our warehouse, and we ship them out as orders are needed. We could certainly work on that with your team as well. That leads me right into our API integration, which a lot of partners have been taking advantage of lately. This is a really nice feature where it gives your clients access to our warehouse by accessing your website directly. So our API would actually feed your website our current stock, pricing that you have hard coded for your clients. We can also make sure that everything pulls from the proper warehouses, since we do have multiple locations for fulfillment. This would also help with auto orders. If you have consistent projects that, like I mentioned before, you're going to have a set number of devices that you need each month, we can put some configuration in place so that you've got restock orders that are taking place through your website, or if your client orders through your site directly, it would update tracking on each order on top of giving you MAC address and serials numbers for each device. So that way, if our team isn't going to do any sort of provisioning, you could at least get the details for your configurations, start the building on the back end, and then when the devices show up to your site, all you have to do is plug them into the network and pull down all the configuration details that you had set up prior to the units arriving to your warehouse or your office location. As I mentioned earlier, we do have experts on site. They are certified with all the brands that we carry. We have sales support that's also on the sales side with expertise from a certification standpoint, but not that we're not, comfortable or have access to reach out to our manufacturers from a technical perspective. We just like to make sure that we have people on our staff. That way, if your team is in a jam and you really need someone to hop on the call, we have folks on site that can move aside some schedules and make sure that we get in touch to figure out any deployments that are in place. Including Rebecca and her team, our marketing support has seen a significant increase on what we can offer. We really have a nice dedicated team now around marketing efforts, not only supplying content to our partners through our channel, but we could also work with your companies directly if you ever are looking for marketing slicks, high resolution images, if you're trying to update your websites, even if you wanted to put together custom collateral that we put in the boxes prior to leaving here, we can add that in as part of our provisioning service. So that way it almost looks like it's coming from your location. We could do a lot of those services for you, but we've built custom quick start guides with your company logos. We've built step-by-step instructions on some overall troubleshooting requests that some of our service provider teams have put together. But really it helps promote your offering, give your clients a little bit more comfort knowing that you have a lot of their questions already figured out prior to the devices showing up, and just making it a little bit easier to do business together. And the other slide I mentioned, our fast shipping with our East and West Coast warehouses, which we'll show on the next slide. We really try to hone in and focus on shipping same day. That way we can give you the most accurate lead time for when the devices are going to show either to your client site or to your location, so you can get these jobs completed. And then again, as a partner with us and being a wholesale distributor, we offer wholesale pricing. We have third-party companies we work with that offer financing as well. Leasing options, we do have the ability to extend credit terms, and we also offer multiple forms of payment depending on what makes the most sense for your company structure. From a tech support perspective, we've got this quick little line of showing kind of the different steps of what we offer, but both pre-sales and post-sales technical support is available. At the moment, we do not have any parameters around that. So really, it's more of just making sure that we have folks available. Anything that we can do to be a little bit proactive with your installs is definitely something we aim for. So if you have a brand new project on a piece of equipment or manufacturer that you really maybe have not deployed or worked with before, and you know you're going to be on site at a certain date and time, anything from 24 to 48 hour notice with our team of where you're going to be and when you would need us available. We can definitely work around your schedule to make sure someone is free. Now, we don't have on-site services, and we also don't have technicians that could be dedicated for an 8-hour installation. But if you have a short 45 to 1 hour window of time where you'll probably be experiencing a little bit of a speed bump there to try to get the project done, that's probably going to be our focus and sweet spot to make sure we can get you through all the questions and issues while you're deploying on site for your client. So our main warehouse is just outside of Buffalo, New York, East Coast time, and then Reno, Nevada for Pacific time. Both of these locations can ship to all 50 states, anywhere from a 2 to 4 day zone. Depending on where you need us to ship or where you're located, we might want to benefit from either coast warehouse. But if we are out of stock in Reno and have plenty of stock in Buffalo and it's got to go to California, we'll obviously keep you aware of that as well. And just make sure that everyone's aware of what the lead times would be and get all the products online for you and on site as soon as possible. Just a quick rundown of some categories here of portfolio products. Like I mentioned earlier, desk phones, on-premise security has become a lot more popular, especially now with everyone really focused on going back to the office. There's been a lot more push to make sure that those automatic door phones can unlock your door switches and your relays and make sure everyone gets through no problem. IP paging is also becoming a lot more popular just because a lot of these new facilities are lacking some of those paging products, or some of the products that are out there are a bit old. So these new IP-based devices set up just like an extension would for a phone on your service, and our team can obviously work with any questions that pop up there. Networking products, headsets, video conferencing, again, all just kind of encompass a lot more of a solution-based option for your team as opposed to just one type of technology through us. So if there's anything that you don't see on our site and you would love for us to carry, or if your team is changing philosophy internally and you'd like to focus on a different sector of technology, we'd love to hear any recommendations of how we can be a better partner with your team. And then real quick, before we jump in, we'll be focusing again on the Yealink line card, their one solution, try to build a nice platform and a nice offering for your client using all of their equipment. So this is just a brief rundown of how long Yealink has been around as an organization. Going on year 24 now. You can see this quick timeline here of kind of their succession of where they started, where they are now. They're definitely becoming, if not already established, as one of the top SIP providers globally. They've got locations in every continent, multiple manufacturer facilities through distribution like ourselves. There's a lot of tech support as well, but really depending on the region, you may or may not have access to a lot of their equipment. So that's why we like to make sure that we're available in case there's any questions that pop up with their portfolio, since it is changing pretty frequently. As of 2017, they've been number one in phone market share, over 15 million endpoints globally, and definitely have one of the top rated devices based on quality. Here again is just some more statistics of kind of what the Yealink product line brings from the phone perspective in North America. They've got over 3.5 million devices sold. I think the biggest stat here that I want to harp on is their RMA rate. We as a distributor have worked with Yealink since day one of their inception in the market in the US channel. I would say, we probably sell the Yealink equipment maybe 3 to 1 compared to the next manufacturer. And I think our return rate is probably one of the lowest with their brand. So not only do they make product that is easy to configure and easy to use, but it's also a higher quality that stays working as long as possible before a refresh has to come through with your client sites. Quick rundown of an overview of some of their current products that they have here. You'll notice that the T7 and T8 are their new lines. These are current in our warehouse. We do still have the T4 and T5 series as well, but very soon towards the end of this year, you'll notice some end of life statuses, and we'll want to keep you up to speed on which products from the T4 and T5 would be equivalent on the T7 and T8. So if you have any standardization that your team does, or if you have clients that prefer a certain type of phone, price point, feature set, or even just a physical aesthetic that they want to stick with, feel free to call us at any time, or see what we can do to share documentation on a comparable replacement for you. They also carry MP line phones, stands for media phone. That is for Microsoft Teams and Zoom integration on the voice side. Yealink's been partnered with Zoom for 5+ years. They've been with Microsoft since the Microsoft Link days, so that's about a decade. It's really a nice relationship, and they keep themselves nice and certified with those two brands, just to give you more flexibility for the type of voice deployments that your clients are looking for. Some of the decked and cordless solutions that you'll notice here may or may not, be something people are familiar with, but Yealink's really focused a lot more on some of their Wi-Fi enabled devices. With more networks becoming robust and more people coming back to offices, we're seeing Wi-Fi become a lot more popular and a lot more requested. Not that decked isn't stable or a strong option. It's just if you have a really strong network and you have folks that are going to be kind of walking around the whole facility, sometimes those deck bases fall a little bit short when it comes to the range. So we've seen Wi-Fi deployments become a lot more popular. Decked is still a really great option with multi-dwelling units, adult facilities, retirement communities, places where maybe folks are going to be inside a specific building, and those base stations are going to keep them well within range while the call is active. And then lastly, their conferencing units. Their 965 is their top end. That has certification firmware with Teams and Zoom. If you're interested in, maybe converting a pre-existing conference room device on a different platform, or if you have a client that's coming off of Teams and they want to move to your service, we could definitely talk with you and work with you on how we can try to redirect those devices to work with different platforms. But they also carry a DEX solution if you're looking for truly wireless conference technology. Their CP935W offers DECT, so you can connect that to a base. And then the 935W is strictly a Wi-Fi integrated conference phone. That'll connect to your network, just like the AX series at the bottom. So why upgrades on Yealink make a lot of sense here. Like I mentioned, obviously we're getting close to end of life status with some of the T4 and T5 series. They've been in the channel for just under 10 years. So it's probably around that time you're going to start to see those upgrades. But within 7 to 8 years of those other devices being out, there's been a lot of upgrades to chipsets and different types of AI-driven technologies. All of this is now built into these devices, so you get a little bit more of an interactive feel with automation, higher quality voice definition, really a lot of background noise technology as well, with a lot of these offices becoming a little bit more cluttered with, again, folks coming back to the office still and maybe doing some remote work. We've seen clients with smaller conference spaces, smaller office spaces that maybe share desks. So you really want to make sure that you've got a lot of your background noise taken care of, especially when you have everyone really close together and a lot of busy office environments throughout the US. Another big reason for upgrades, Yealink does this a lot more than some other brands, but they listen to their manufacturer partners, they listen to their channel users, they listen to the end users. And a lot of people are always looking for upgrades or looking to try to better the performance of their offices. So the feedback has been, as often as possible to keep up with market trends. That's where Yealink wants to shine, and they want to make sure that their product is up to speed and up to par with everybody's, overall expectation of their products. We can share these slides with you if you do need it, but here's just a quick overview of a potential upgrade strategy. Like I was mentioning earlier, if you have people that standardize on the T54W, T46U, those are very popular models. I would say, these suggestions are nice, but obviously it does come down to price point, feature set, physical look. So any questions when it comes to replacing equipment that is officially end of life or maybe out of warranty, anyone here on the 888 VoIP side would be happy to go over questions that you have and just see if we can fit a new deployment together with your client. All right, so here's just a quick rundown of maybe some spots within an office or within a location that you're going to see different reasons to have phones. Reception obviously makes a lot of sense. Retail is a very popular place where hard phones are still used. Call centers are definitely a big advocate for physical devices. We have seen some folks um, look at maybe soft phones and then quickly realize that the user experience is a lot more robust when you're using a physical phone. Offices, both common area and executive, not to mention your work cubes. It's definitely still a very reliable source to have hard desk phones at those locations. Some overview updates here on the new T7 and T8s. You are going to see a more modern design, takes up a bit less real estate on the desks themselves. On the T8 series, you're going to have an emergency button now located on the device. You can configure that to go right back to an administrator, go out to a 911 source. Obviously, that falls on different service plans and things that are in place per state. Your system and security updates with both Linux 6.1 and Android 13. Not to mention you've got higher security now with the new hardware encryption. The AI noise cancellation, like I mentioned earlier, has really overcome some of the previous models, myself included. I've noticed a huge difference with some of the background noise acoustic shield technology. You also have stronger speakers now, so the call quality experience is definitely enhanced. Updated Bluetooth and Wi-Fi settings, so you do have a lot quicker response when it comes to any kind of integration, either Wi-Fi as a setup, Bluetooth for headsets or other devices to your phone. You also have a lot of unified and clean user interfaces, a little bit more floating notification instead of physical buttons for BLFs. You do get to see a little bit more of a modern look on these phones. Larger text mode has been very popular, especially with locations that maybe are looking for your old analog style layout where the physical buttons are a lot bigger. For folks that maybe have some trouble seeing the smaller buttons, you can change the appearance on the physical devices as well as change the contrast and the color correction based on the environment that they're located in. And then lastly, you've got some eco-friendly design now. So you've got better power saving capabilities and the materials that are used now, again, in shared spaces. If you have folks that are going to hot desk or maybe they're going to share their space, if they do a hybrid work schedule, it's probably good practice, to keep everything nice and clean. So the materials that are used on these phones now really don't have as much issue as they did in the past with some of those cleaning companies that would come through and potentially damage the handsets, or maybe some of the cleaning material would get inside the phones themselves. So a much better technology now on those T8 series phones. So up top, you're going to notice the T54W and how the adjustable screen used to be almost like a swivel on a neck, almost detached from the phone. While it was a great design, there have been some experiences where people were a little bit too aggressive, caused those screens to damage or break in some way. So what Yealink did was they adjusted those screens now to be on more of a hinge, and it covers the entire length of the phone, and it's connected in full. So you really don't have to worry about anything, breaking or damaging. It's going to be a lot more easy to change your screen heights and your screen adjustments. You do have the touch buttons now. So instead of taking up physical spots on the device itself, you're going to have some quick access, quick touch buttons for different features like muting your microphone, answering calls, checking your voicemail. And then again, on the T8s, you have the emergency button listed at the top left, configured for emergency services. Through different AI noise cancellation chips and different technologies built in, you're going to have a stronger, clearer audio, a much better experience from a call quality perspective, full duplex speakers just like normal, and then you've got the higher end speakers themselves that are built into the handsets, and then acoustic shield for background noise technology cancellation.
Joe, we have a question.
Yeah.
What's the new sidecar model for use for the T8 series?
I have to double check that. I think it's the EXP. I want to say the EXP55, but I have to double check. I know that the last couple of times we inquired, we were still waiting for our product to come in. So I got to find out what that is. But from what I was told, it's one sidecar for T7 and T8. It just depends on the manufacturer model that can accept the sidecars, but we can find that out.
I think you're right. I think you're right on the EXP55, but yes, we can double check.
Okay, yeah, perfect. Yeah, so back to the security. Like I mentioned earlier, updated Linux, updated Android 13 with future firmware allowing it to expand in the future. And then you've got the TEE hardware encryption. This goes for both T7 and T8 series phones. Smarter security here gives you extra enhancement when it comes to any tampering attempts, any people that are maybe visiting the office, trying to access these phones and tap into your security phone system. This gives you a lot more reassurance with the Linux-based deployment within the device, protects your network against intrusions, attacks, but it also has a nice secure transmission. So your media or any kind of user data is going to be in a much more secure space on these devices compared to some of the prior Linux deployments. Smarter user interface helps with overall workflow, just a better orientation on the phone. Again, the feedback from users definitely doesn't go unnoticed, and Yealink wanted to, in a way, redesign the way that their phones are laid out just to make your day-to-day and experience overall a lot more efficient. Gesture recognition has been introduced, so that way if you have folks with Android models, just so they have a better mobile experience. You also have the floating window, like I mentioned, for BLF responses, so that you can quickly change and quickly monitor all of the different calls that are coming in and out on the phone itself. I'll leave this slide up for a minute. This kind of gives a nice little breakdown of the different models. Now there are 5 different models from what I'm seeing here that are going to be deployed on the T8 series. The biggest notice from the start is your T85W just has a slightly smaller LCD screen. All of them offer the same amount of line appearances. You've got about 16 less DSS keys on the 85W. All offer the same dual band Wi-Fi. You have 2.4 and 5 gig for integration there. All of them offer the 5.0 Bluetooth integration. You do have antimicrobial materials on all T8 series, and then you've got physical touch buttons on the 85, while you have more standard style buttons and touchscreen capability on the T87 and 88W phones. The 88 V Pro has an option for camera to be integrated. This is not tying into video conferencing, but more so IP to IP calls. So if you have folks at other offices, other extensions within your office that maybe want to just have a quick video call and not use the voice part, you'd still establish that through calling their line directly, but you can enable video as well if you're just trying to enhance the overall conversation. The T7 series here, as you can see, there's 5 models for this as well. Anything that offers a W in the model is going to mean Wi-Fi and Bluetooth included. So if you see the T73U, for example, you have the option to upgrade to either go to a T7W series. We are working to confirm with the manufacturer if they're going to make Bluetooth and Wi-Fi dongles for these models as well. They did that with the T4 and T5, but we're trying to see if they're standardizing now on just pushing folks that need the integrations to move to the W models instead. Your screen sizes vary based on the model, so starts out at the smaller 2.8 on the T73s and scales up to 7 inches with some touchscreen capabilities on the 77U. DSS keys vary as well, along with line appearances. All of them have the option on the W series to offer Bluetooth 5.0. You do have the dual band Wi-Fi 6 on those W models as well. All Yealink phones are PoE capable. If you do need power supplies, we will ask that question, or you can just let us know if there's no PoE switches on site. And then lastly, you've got a little bit lower 5-way local conferencing for audio conferencing through those phones. If not, it maxes out at 10-way on the T74 and 77U. Quick overview again of some of the verticals that you'll notice a lot of these cordless technology requests coming from. Depending on the environment, might depend on which model you want to go with. Obviously, your manufacturing, warehousing, even retail, I think ruggedized is becoming a lot more popular just because the accidents happen, obviously, and you want to make sure that the phone is protected as long as possible. The ruggedized version offers a slightly thicker construction with a bit of a rubber material, so that way if it does drop, you're going to have a little bit more protection. Your hospitals, hotels, offices, those are still going to be a lot more keen on the business side of things as far as the AX83H goes. That is going to be a smaller phone overall, but it does not have the same level of protection as the ruggedized material does. Real quick on the battery life, because this comes up a lot, you do have the option to charge these devices through a Type-C cable, or you can connect it to the provided charging cradle at your desk or a docking station. There is an industry record battery life on the 86R, 13 hours of talk time and 300 hours of standby time. And so this is definitely a far superior battery life compared to some of the other channel products that you'll see from other manufacturers. But again, the AX83 doesn't fall short either, with a 9-hour talk time and up to 200 hours of standby. This is a really important feature that I like to go over, similar to the T8 series on the desk phones. The 86R is going to offer emergency and automatic alarm capabilities. So if the user is always wearing this phone, maybe on the belt clip that's provided, and it has different kind of configurations where it notices that the device is all of a sudden speeding up. Maybe someone's chasing, someone in a setting where they're in retail, and maybe they've caught a shoplifter, or they're running from a security perspective, against an intruder. It's going to set an alarm, send it to the administrator. That administrator can either automatically send that call to an emergency, 911 service, or have that configured where if that alarm goes off, it automatically dials the 911 services. Warehousing, we've seen this a lot, where folks might have accidents on the job, but because they're wearing these phones and wearing them on their belt clip, if the phone itself feels a certain depth of fall from a certain height to maybe the ground, it's going to also ring a notification to your admin team to let them know that there might be an accident or an issue in the location that these phones are going to be deployed. And then lastly, the no movement alarm. This is also important. Obviously, if there's any medical emergencies, maybe people fall down, or maybe you've got folks that are supposed to be moving at all times and they've stopped. So it kind of alerts people that maybe your day-to-day thoughts and day-to-day experiences with those users are different than it should. It's just another notification to make sure that all the risks are covered and that everyone is operating safely within the environment. The phones are IP67 rated, water resistance, dust proof. Again, this is a really nice feature for those warehousing facilities, manufacturing facilities, places where you've got a lot of debris throughout the air, maybe don't have the same level of air quality like a standard office would. So these would be protected in a longer running fashion than maybe like a desk phone that you would mount to the wall. Here's a quick breakdown side to side of the two different models. Like I mentioned, the biggest difference is the AX86R is going to be ruggedized. You do have a little bit of a stronger acoustic shield built in as well on the 86R, mainly because the environments that those are going to be deployed are warehousing or manufacturing facilities. So there's a lot more background noise to kind of filter through and keep out of the call itself. You do have stronger battery life on the 86R, but again, you've got a lot of the same physical characteristics, vibration, backlight on the keypad. You also have the Type-C charging capabilities. So there's really a lot more built into these phones than some of the previous models that Yealink's deployed, just based on consumer feedback. Yealink does offer their own device management platform. Now, this works for all of their devices, phones, headsets, and video conferencing. Depending on the devices that you want to put in the device management portal, there may or may not be annual costs tied to that. We can work with you on the 888 side to make sure that you're taken care of if there's any licenses that are needed. But obviously, this is helpful for mass deployments, out-of-state deployments, or if you just have a lack of field techs that can get on site. This gives you a portal that you can manage all your devices, check the quality of service. You can check to make sure all the devices are online. Status updates with firmwares that have come through. So if you want to schedule your firmware upgrades later in a day, you've got a cloud management portal that'll give you a bit of a schedule to work around. But again, if any issues pop up, you don't have to always get in the car or get in a truck and go to the client site. You have the ability to do this from a cloud-based interface. Yealink always has different phone incentive programs. These are usually done case by case through different deal registrations that we can offer and also submit on your behalf. Depending on the quantity of phones, you do have basic discounts that are passed along, but Yealink has been adding verticals to kind of enhance and increase the discount to make them more competitive price-wise for the different bids and different projects that you're going to be encountering. There are other partner programs that can offer upfront discounts at quantity one. Those do require a bit more of an annual commitment. So again, any particulars or questions that you'd like to go over with that, our sales staff is very knowledgeable on the different details of the programs that are available. And this is applicable on all of their SIP phones. It's not based on just certain models themselves. Yealink is offering spiffs to new registrations along with deals that are closed for partners. It has started in March, goes all the way through the end of Q3. These are actually going to be automatically applied after we receive the credit from Yealink. We would apply it as a statement credit to your account. But if you have any questions on how this works, what we can do to kind of make sure that we keep that in the forefront for your sales reps, if you want to use it as incentive for them to push more Yealink phones or try to help close these deals, we'd be happy to have calls with your team and just go over different strategies to make these incentives worthwhile. Here are some just suggestions that we've seen, based on different types of connections, different types of offerings, whether you have folks that are strictly using laptop and desk phones, maybe certain headsets that you can see here have a better attach rate and just a more comparable integration. Then you've got people that are using soft phone clients a lot, both on their cell phones or their physical phones. So having Bluetooth integrated devices can easily have you flip between the devices that you're using. But also with certain models of Yealink that have Bluetooth built in, you can use those same headsets on physical desk phones as well. Headsets have been a pretty strong focus for Yealink over the past few years. They've really expanded a lot of their line card, even offering some new models that have LCD screens. There have been some older models like the WH67 that you see there that offer a dual screen. And that just allows the user to toggle between maybe a physical phone with a hardwire connection or a cell phone with Bluetooth integration. Same thing here with the 64 and 68 workstation. You'll notice the LCD screens are there. Also comes with the charging station, so that way you can dock the headset when it's not in use, and then make sure that it's always working the way it should. USB-A has become, and USB-C, those have become two very important connection options now, not just with phones, but also different laptops, whether it's Windows devices or MacBooks through Apple. You're going to notice that you're going to need different types of USB ports. So all of Yealink's devices on the UH3 and UH4 series, from what I remember, are going to offer USB-A and USB-C connection. The BH series is strictly Bluetooth. The new SP9X series is going to be their speakerphone options. Those are great for on the go if you need a mobile conferencing device that offers both speaker and microphone, and you want to have it in a more flexible option. You can always plug these in directly or pair them through Bluetooth to your laptop. They also charge when they're connected to the laptop. So it's a nice mobile option for conferencing technology. So this is just a quick update and overview of the new workstations, different types of connectivity. You've got DECT for range, some Bluetooth options as well for connection. The range is going to be the biggest one. DECT mode definitely gives you a stronger range from your base. So if you are like me and when you're on a call, you like to walk while you're talking, you really don't have to worry about being too far away from the base itself without the call dropping. Again, Bluetooth is probably going to be more for your connection. That way you've got flexibility to hardwire to a phone or Bluetooth to a soft client and a physical phone itself. And then Yealink made different adapters so that their headsets can now work with non-Yealink products as well. So you'll see either using the EHS62 or maybe their physical telephone cable. Both have the same audio quality. We've seen the EHS adapters be a little bit more popular, but depending on the manufacturer that you're going to tie the headsets to, we have different compatibility guides that we can work with you on to make sure you've got all the right pieces and even test something out for you prior to leaving our warehouse, just to give you a lot more confidence that you can continue to use the Yealink branded headsets regardless of the phones that are already deployed. These headsets also offer background noise cancellation. I have used my headset exclusively. The one I'm using now is using Bluetooth connected to my laptop here, but I am about, I don't know, 100 feet away from my base station. I have really had little to no issues when it comes to connections staying in place, but we also have a pretty dense sales team. So all my colleagues are right next to me. We all use different base stations. Our frequencies never overlap. Our connections stay very strong. And when I'm on calls, you can't hear my neighbors next to me talking about different conversations. So the microphone boom itself is where all of the sound absorption comes in, and then it also is a nice covering over my ear, so I can hear the call a lot more clearer, so I don't have to worry about background noise seeping in on my end. So it's definitely a stronger technology that we've seen than other models in the past. In the bottom right here, you'll see just some of the soft clients and other platforms that are supported using these workstation devices. Again, this is for maybe work from home or on the go kind of employees that want to have a strong and solid headset. They can use it with soft clients, again, with a lot of different integrations and a lot of different certifications that you'll see. But again, you're going to get the same battery life, connectivity, and overall high definition quality on these devices. And then you'll also see just a couple of different interface images of what the screens will actually capture. It does have built-in USB for your hub. You could put this device in speaker mode when the headset's docking. Maybe you ran out of battery, but you still have to go about your day. You can turn this into a speakerphone while the headset docks, so that way you don't miss calls and you can still have a really nice conversation. You don't have to worry about a physical phone not being in place. It gives you versatility here when it comes to the workstation itself. The 4-inch touchscreen display plus the hands-free speaker does give you a lot of options if you want to work while you're talking and just keep your day moving as fluid as possible. That'll wrap it up. I know that was a lot of information. Usually there's a lot of new details, so I'll sit back and wait for any questions. Thank you all again for coming to the webinar today, and like Rebecca mentioned, in a couple days this will be live on our YouTube page, so we'll be able to send the link out your way as well.
Well, we appreciate a couple of the questions that did come through. I replied to what we could here. I don't think we have anything else pending right now. If anybody does have any questions after this, please feel free to reach out to us here at 88 VoIP. You can reply to any of the emails that you've received from this webinar. Whether it be the notifications that you've got the invitation or it's joining in an hour or whatnot, you can always just reply right back to that. I think we are all set here. No additional questions right now. So thanks so much for doing all of this, Joe, and thank you
No
for
problem.
everybody who's joining us today.
Awesome.
All right, everybody, have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.